right, Rich was talking about the corporate myth, and it's really a lie that if I go to work for a big company, I'm going to be safe and secure, I'm going to have an income, I'm going to have a job, I'm going to have insurance. And that's really not true, because as he teaches, the corporations are looking out for shareholder value and shareholder return. And loyalty really belongs to ourselves and our family first and foremost. And when we work for large corporations, or we have an employer who writes us a check every 2 weeks and provides benefits, the myth is that we get deceived into thinking that's always going to be there, because there's a buffer between us and what is really happening in the balance sheet and the cash flow. And it doesn't do any good to hide from those realities of how close we are to being bankrupt, or how close we are to making a lot of money as an organization. So the aha moment for me is really the fact that we have to face reality. We have to be in touch and have a pulse on cash flow, on how the business is doing. And I personally would rather be responsible for that in my own career and face those realities and be able to deal with them early than to have them obscured by layers of management in different departments and find out, as a colleague of mine did when he showed up for work about 2 weeks ago. He showed up for work and they said, here's a box, you've got 10 minutes to clear your desk out.
And, my aha moment is really about when you're going to business, the first thing you need to do is to develop your channel. And this is something that I think's been really missing in my thinking in business, so this is really invaluable, because I don't think I'll ever approach a business ever the same. You know, I will certainly be developing the channel first, and I definitely have some brainstorming to do around that with all my ideas.
Okay, here I said I have an epiphany. Looking at the zigzag concept, I've been working with startup companies for 8 years in the Valley, and inherently they all have one thing in common. They need money to get to their ultimate goal. And here we have a concept that if the zig or the zag gets them into an interim source of revenue, not only is it going to help them move to the next step, but ultimately it could attract investors who invariably in today's economic environment demand that you be in some sort of cash flow. So I think this is just the greatest thing since sliced bread.
One moment. We're right now discussing waves and opportunities, trends that are either manufactured by the market economy, by the markets or by the economy, or those that are self-created by reinventing and identifying and creating a path or creating a market. But my aha moment, as we're sitting here at the Bootstrap Bootcamp, is we're identifying these waves. It seems to me that the waves are generated by an important factor, and that important factor is there are multitude of inefficiencies in the marketplace. And in my estimation, entrepreneurism is about exploiting inefficiencies in the marketplace and thereby identifying ways in which we can plug in and fill those gaps. That's my aha moment here at Bootstrap Camp.
My backpack moment is that, having been in the health industry all my life and absolutely being an inspiring role model for health and energy and vitality, and also being passionate about entrepreneurialism, and realizing after being told all my life that no, you're not a good businesswoman, that hey, I am an entrepreneur, and that's why I have all these amazing opportunities come to me and why I do what I do with businesses and with investments, that I can actually help entrepreneurial women and men, and also help them with their health, because they have to have the energy, vitality and passion to drive them through their businesses as well.
And I was listening to the discussion on the principle of zigzag, and I see it as increasing your resources that you can bring to your project, because we always start out lacking some kind of resource. But what Rich didn't mention was that his starting point was not just limited, well, he had limited money, but he already had a Rolodex. He already had people he could call. He also had some intellectual property that was of value. He could show the value to his prospective client, Warner Music, in New York. so that for us, maybe we don't have the same size Rolodex. So I'm thinking coming here to the boot camp was extremely valuable because it gave me a chance to develop my Rolodex even further so that then I could see to increasing my intellectual property and then start getting some more capital to get my project, which those guys may have started at square one.
I participated in a 1-hour conference with Ron and Rich a month or so ago, and in that conference they presented their cash flow concept, and I was all behind it. Oh yeah, I'm real positive about cash flow. Understand that you got to have positive cash flow. And then Ron introduced this concept of death by net, and it puzzled me really bad. It's like, what is death by net? And as he explained it, the concept of you've got to get the money in after you send the bills out. And if you don't get it coming back in, you're going to die on your net days to get your bills paid.
Survival Guide and I just had the best aha moment. I think it's going to help me in every aspect of my business. I, like many of you, are stuck in a rut with our current business. I don't like what I'm doing, but I've got to do it because that's how I make money. That's how I pay the bills. I got to keep a roof over my head. I have children. I have college students. I have missionaries. I have all that stuff. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to meet with my agents every single Monday and every single Friday, and we are going to do the whiteboard solution. You need to read about it. You need to check it out. You need to get it involved in your life because that whiteboard solution is going to fix everything.
In business, there's always the challenge of knowing what the rules in business are. And in our team building activity, there was a point where I wasn't sure if I broke the rules or not, so I didn't actually stop the flow of the exercise. I went with it, but then I took a moment afterwards to check in with myself about, was I above the line or below the line? And I decided that I didn't actually play above the line, so I chose to be honest about that. And the challenge about being honest is that, you risk possibly wrecking your reputation, possibly having the disapproval of your team and letting everybody down. And so I think there's a lot to be considered when, as entrepreneurs, we have to decide what rules are we playing by and when to be honest about when we've made mistakes.
We just came back from the landmine activity, really great team building opportunity. And I learned the importance of making sure that you have each team member in the right position. I think that we had a really awesome experience because it looked like we were going to lose. The other team made some small errors, and we decided to slow things down and eventually won because of it.
And we just got through doing an event outside, and I think one of my aha moment really is, since I was the anchor point, and from the corner of my eye, I saw that everybody in the other team was just rushing to the other line. So, and I still had probably about 6 blocks left, and I was like, man, even though I felt the pressure and figured that there's a chance that they might win, it didn't stop me from still making sure that I did everything right, because I knew something could still happen where somebody could fall. And from the corner of my eye, I saw that Dade, is it Dade or Jade? Jade. I saw Jade there, and this is what I saw. And I'm like, I got it. And that's when I just kind of took my time and got to the finish line. So I think that's something that's really important is, regardless of the pressure that you have in anything in life, it's just important to just still relax and stay focused and do what you've got to do, and then everything else just works out.
Okay, so we've just finished a landmine exercise outside, and what I realized is the absolute necessity to be cautious and be conservative in business. And you can stay on that line, but just back off a little bit. If you play too close and too out there, you create more instability and the less likelihood of you actually getting across the line to where you want to go. And it is about teamwork that will make your dream work everywhere, and to follow through all the time and check the people, in like the back blocks of your organisation. How important is that? Keep an eye on your team.